We're live. Good evening. This is Dennis Wong coming from Winnipeg, and I'm here tonight with Dr. Hal Blackman, one of my mentor and one of my teacher in the area of pain. And we're going to talk about pain and where the pain comes from and the truth about the pain. So, Dr. Blackman, it's yours.
Hi there, Dennis. Wonderful to be here. Good to see you. You're looking well as always, and we made technology work for us again.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, we were having a little bit of internet issue, so I said, just teaching us patience.
That's right. Very calming. Thank you.
So with the pain, last time we talked about, we said, okay, what causes pain was what we said last time, and our discussion went to saying the pain, where you're having pain may not be where the cause of the pain is.
Right.
And you have to then find where the injury is. So can you sort of expand on that a little bit?
Yes. So much of us, we have pain in our head. We call it a headache. We think the pain comes from the head. We have pain in our lower back. We think it comes from our lower back. It makes a lot of sense, but that's not the way our biology works.
Right.
The pain in your headache doesn't come from your head. Pain in your left arm could be your heart attack. You have no idea. And the pain in your knee joint that you think is under your kneecap, and you have your knee replaced and the knee still hurts. The pain in your joint, most of that's not coming from the joint. It's coming from what we call fascia that holds you, your joint, your muscle, your body, all of your biology together, and gets injured so many times. And we usually ignore these injuries. We have no way to measure them, no way to find them. We call them things like bursitis and water on your knee and all kinds of other, you can surely think of some of the names we call these pain things that don't make any sense.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the one that I remember from learning from you, even back in 2006, the first time when I, attended your training lecture, and you talk about phantom limb pain, right? There's people get amputated because of diabetic neuropathy, etc. But even though they don't have the lower limb anymore, they're feeling the pain. And
the muscle in the leg, the muscle in the calf, and I probably have the diagram right here. When you do a below the knee amputation and the person no longer has the foot, they still have the muscles in the calf right underneath the knee that are part of their stump. And those muscles cause, there we go, this pattern. And this one right over here, the muscles in the calf that, the muscles in the calf don't care whether the foot's there or not. They're still sending pain to the foot. And what we find in practice is you make that muscle in the remaining part of the calf, the stump, so to speak, smooth out and take the kinks out of that, you take away the pain that's in the foot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And talk about, last time when you talk about, I mentioned that about the post-breast cancer surgery patient that I treated the pain on the side, even though surgery is at the front. Just recently, we had another patient that having actually a post-breast cancer surgery, and the doctor was asking for topical pain and stuff, so we put it together, but I'm kind of waiting to see what they are prescribing. It's gonna do anything. If not, then I may have to get, involved with a little bit and talk about these fascial pain, because I think that's where it's gonna be.
We're taught that chronic pain doesn't ever go away. You have to make the nervous system not work, the nerve not work. You have to make it blind to see, or you have to interrupt it somehow. And that's just not true. And we talk about coping and how much we have to help people cope with their pain. And, the blessing is that you don't have to learn to cope with what you can make go away. And if we just look at pain through a different lens, instead of looking at it through the disc and nerve pathway lens, look at it through an injury to your fascia and how do you repair it and unkink it lens. And all of a sudden, things you couldn't touch, you can now feel. Things you couldn't help and make go away, you now can.
Absolutely.
And so many things come to the forefront of what we can do that we could never touch before. And, you wonder what to believe. You really wonder what to believe. You have your MRI scan, you have your X-ray, you have all this information that comes from the internet and the doctors you see. The only thing you can believe is what you can touch and feel.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Because
even
you
like
know you're tender.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the key. It's not where do you think you hurt, where do you feel the pain. It's where specifically are you tender. That's the believe. Because that shows you where the kinks are in your fascia, and it shows you where the injuries are, where you hold together and you've caused
Hold it. Yeah.
Hold it. Exactly. And where those things are most tender represent the injuries through your lifetime that cause the pain that we're talking about in most all cases of pain.
Right.
And when we look at pain through that lens, my God, what the percent? Do you have any idea of people that get better?
Oh, I will probably say just my experience. I'm not looking at yours. It's probably 75%. Because when you talk about chronic pain, I can remember, Cindy, you met my wife, Cindy. She's a pharmacist too. And we still talk about it and laugh about it because one time, one of the physician next door to our pharmacy sent a patient to us because this patient was having chronic sciatica pain and on opiates and oral narcotic, heavy narcotic, and nothing was doing anything. So Cindy and I suggested maybe trigger point, it's a fascia pain. And he's like, it can be, you guys can play with it. I give you whatever. So we put together trigger point gel, and then when the patient came in, we will start pressing on his buttock. And we hit the point, and he's right there. And he literally pulled down his underpants for us to apply it right there and then in front of everybody. And within 5 minutes of applying and massaging it, he's like, I feel 50% better. And,
Exactly.
Those are the kind of things. So when you said, yeah, definitely the pain can go away if you can find the injury and, and can get treated. It's amazing.
And, there's people who say, my pain can't be myofascial. And there's doctors who say, no, this can't be myofascial.
Well, absolutely.
The truth of the matter is almost all pain is myofascial. Very little of it is anything else. Even the pain you call inflammation is a reaction of your immune system in your fascia. The derivative or the base of is not just the inflammation, but it's the injury. You can eat inflammatory food and maybe not tell the difference. You just kind of brush it off. But if you have injuries, that inflammatory food now lights them up like plugging them in.
Right.
So the injury really does make a tremendous amount of difference. And we have these injuries all over our body that we can teach you how to feel and how to find. So you can figure out where does your pain come from, and you can control what you do, and you can learn how to make most of it go away. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh,
You don't
that's,
need the doctor, you don't need the therapist. You can do it with your own hands. What if we taught you how to do this work on your fascia to unkink it and to help it get a little stronger? And what if we taught you what to do with your food so you knew what to avoid and not eat anymore? If it only made half your pain go away, wouldn't that change your life? And Dennis is talking about 70, 75%.
Yeah.
Because once you figure out where it comes from and you know what to change, you can actually make that happen and watch pain start to go away. And Isn't it much more fun to make pain go away than it is to suffer?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And when you talk about inflammation that causing pain and etc. and certain food, and as both of us we travel a lot for conferences and etc. etc. So over the year, I actually figured it out that certain food that I eat on my trip within 12 hours can lock up my arm and lock up my fingers with the inflammation and pain. And so I've learned over the year to avoid certain food and certain combination. And that's the beauty of it, that as you learn it, and like you said, you have specific basic quote unquote food that you should not touch for the pain.
Right.
And so that's a great complement to finding out where the injuries and kinks are.
And, two things. One, the area that acts up with the food, is that a more injured area? And two, when you decide that there's a food that causes the pain, how much of that food can you tolerate without the pain coming? Can you answer both of them?
Yeah. Well, without the pain, then you don't know what you're gonna keep eating. But you may get more inflammation at other places or in the long run. And when you feel the pain right away, then you know that, okay, this is not good for you. And, like I said last time, I remember you saying every time we go out for dinner after the conference and stuff, you always have a smile on your face and said, choose your poison wisely. And I still remember to this day, every time I ate something wrong, Cindy will smile at me and say, do you remember what the blood man said? And then we both said that. So, it's like.
But when you find that food your body doesn't like, can you tolerate even a little bit of it, or do you avoid it completely?
You avoid it completely. Oh, yeah.
That's the point. So many people think they can be, I'm almost gluten-free, I'm almost dairy-free. Well, no, you're not. It's like a bee sting.
Yeah.
It only takes one to kill you if you're sensitive.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
get that.
No, and the same example that, I'm a compounding pharmacist, and in the compounding lab, there's certain chemical that you are careful with because it sensitizes your skin. And I can tell you that there's 1 or 2 chemical right now, if I have to compound with it, I wear double gloves because I've already somehow got sensitive to it, and I get skin irritation fairly quickly. So for me now is, if those compounds that we have to make, I avoid them. I don't make it. I ask, other team member in the lab, okay, you guys can do this one because now I'm sensitive to it. So the same idea, you gotta avoid it totally. You can't do partial.
Right. And for many people, they need to avoid their whole list. They can't just avoid 1 piece or 2 pieces. They need to avoid the entire trifecta. None of these pieces can they eat because, there was a lady who came to me and after I gave a talk, and she said a month later or so, I tried doing what you suggested, it didn't work. Well, she had done the gluten-free part. And about a year later, she tracked me down and said, it was because it was more than gluten-free. I also needed to be sugar-free and dairy-free and this free and that free. And now, my God, I've lost 70 pounds and I feel terrific. So,
right.
Yeah, sometimes you can't tolerate any of them and you don't know. So when you take one of these things out of your diet, you need to resist the temptation to say that didn't make any difference.
Right, because there may be other one.
And take your next step without going backwards on the step you just took.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about that. I'm actually this weekend, I'm on doing Tony Robbins' life mastery training. And so the whole weekend is greens and juicing and lemon water, just doing the cleanse. And I'm happy to do that because I'm one of those that, with the stress, my guts a lot of time does not function, and I'm with the stress, sometimes cheated on, sugars and this and that. And so now I'm like, okay, good. This weekend, I'm going to clean up my diet and clean up my gut again and my food again. So, it's not that, oh, you can do this one time and then that's it. You got to keep trying it. You fell up, you got to get back on it because you know that makes you feel better. And that's I think is one of the things that a lot of people struggle sometimes is, oh, I'm gonna eat a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that become mushroom.
Yeah, if you actually do the techniques that we teach and understand it and look it through this different lens, if you're not getting better, it often is that you just haven't done what you need to do with what you've been exposed to and what you're exposing your body to. And there's so much healing to do with that. I would suggest that for chronic pain, the average person in chronic pain, at least 40% of their pain they could change just by changing their food.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, because I've been working with quite a few patients recently. I got 3 patients right now on 7-day cleanse with the food. Because I said, you know what? There's so many things going on. Let's clean out your food first. So I got 3 patients right on 7-day cleanse, working on it. And then by Monday, I'm going to talk to one patient coming off 7 days. I'm going to then look at, okay, now where you at? And then we can look at pain better at that time. We can look at other stuff better. So absolutely.
And the more problems you have, the more diverse those problems are, the more there is a common denominator. And it always starts, there's 2 reasons we eat, right? One reason is to get fuel to burn. The other reason is to get raw materials to make new parts.
Right.
So what's the quality of the fuel you're putting into your body? And what are your engines being asked to burn? Is it, high quality, low quality? Did you put 87 or 83 octane in, or maybe 0 octane? Or did you put in 100 octane in racing fuel? And then, you're building new parts every day. You are the one who's falling apart. Are you falling apart because you're made out of stuff that doesn't hold together well?
Right.
Should you be putting a higher quality of goods in so you repair better and hold together better? And how do you do that? And how do you biohack your biology to get out of pain and help it heal? Well,
absolutely.
That's what we all do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited about. And looking forward to your workshop on February 6th, because I registered and I told Cindy, and I even told my 15-year-old son, he played basketball and he get this knee injury, often. And I said, you need to attend that with me so that you can learn about this myofascial pain and then you can treat yourself. We taught him a bit already, so he knows where the points are, etc., and working with it. So I said, now this weekend, you're going to learn a lot more. So I'm looking forward to that. Oops, we lost Dr. Blackman. I guess internet's playing game with us. We'll wait a few minutes. I don't know if any of you know, but I'm sure some of you know Dr. Blackman, but he is one of the specialists in myofascial pain. And he's been teaching that to many health practitioners, physicians, pharmacists in North America. And I've learned about the myofascial pain and trochlear pain from him back in 2006. And since then, every time I work with a pain patient, I've looked at the pain differently. Post-surgery patient, I've looked at them differently. Sorry, Dr. Blackman's messaging me saying stream, the internet cut out. So let's, hopefully we can get him back in here. And so with that, that has helped many patients that I work with. And, like I mentioned before, sciatica pain patient that had it for years and on opiates and stuff that couldn't do anything. We were able to find the myofascial trigger point and apply the topical pain gel, and within 10 minutes he was feeling better, and he said, oh, my pain's like 50% better. And I had a migraine patient that I work with. Recently, she had migraine for 20 years, and I work with the trigger point plus the food. And as soon as when we did the trigger point, her pain went better for about, she said, about 70%, but she was not happy. And so we work on the food area, and as soon as she cleaned up the food, within 2 days, her migraine was totally gone. Compared to she was having migraine every day to not even having a headache every day anymore. And there's days that she doesn't have any headache or anything for stretch of time. And so I'm excited. And if you have anybody, or if you know anybody who's suffering from pain and you need a little bit more help, Dr. Blackman's having a workshop on February 6th, all the workshop gonna talk about how to find these pain injury area on the fascia, etc. And also talk about food, what food you should be avoiding. Here we go, we got him back. I'm gonna add him back in.
Yes, we are.
There we go. I was
didn't
just
have to
talking.
reboot.
Yeah, good. I was just talking about, my experience with a couple of patients. One in particular, that migraine headache patient that we did the trigger point, and that improved about 70% of her migraine headache. But, she was still having migraine. So we actually then jumped into the food area and started eliminating the food and reset the food, what she eats and what she cannot eat. And with that, within 48 hours, not even getting migraine, but she was not even getting any headache anymore. And the only time when she experienced headache was when she eat the food, like you said, a little bit of the food that she's not supposed to eat, then she got back into headache. And for her case was 20 years that she has migraine. She got migraine since she was 17. And she did Botox even, and she said Botox didn't even touch it. And until we start doing that, then, the food and the finding the myofascial points and the kink and stuff, then that's what. So, it's a lot of time people say, oh, I'm going to do this. It's not one thing. A lot of time is you got to do all these different areas and find the best solution. Everybody's different.
When you're a child and mom tells you not to do something and you do it anyway, usually there's some consequences.
Absolutely.
And every once in a while I hear someone say, no, my mother never punished me for that. And I'll have to say, well, now your body is teaching you what your mother never did.
Yeah.
Every time you eat that, you get sent to your room. You get tired of going to your room, then stop eating that.
Right.
And
absolutely.
On the back side of it, on the front side, you might think, oh, poor me, I'm so deprived, right? I don't get to, right? But on the back side of it, if you look around our lives, we're old enough to have seen people die. And we're old enough to have kind of started to put the pieces of the puzzle together of what do they die from? And usually it's complications of the food that's on the list of what's causing you your pain.
Absolutely.
So your body is helping enforce the behavior that you need to do, and you get to learn about that while you're still healthy before you've been injured much worse by it, where friends and colleagues find out about it when they have a major life stress event with
Mm-hmm.
either cancer or a stroke or heart attack or something, you know, and you get to perhaps avoid that and have your body enforce you avoiding what causes that, or else you get sent to your room as the prelude consequence so that other stuff never happens to you.
Absolutely. And the thing is that people need to learn the food side and, avoid it, because I've seen some people that, not a lot, but some people that, being a pharmacist, people come in and then, they'll buy these prescription medication for this, that, etc. But then I talk to them and say, you know what, maybe you need to kind of look at and understand what food are triggering that. Like, for example, I had one patient a few years back that has heartburn to the point that he has to carry the purple pill every time he go out to eat, and get severe heartburn and pain. And so I said, look at the food. Oh no, this purple pill help. But like you said, for those people, how long are you gonna survive if you keep doing that, compared to learning and preventing? And that's the key that we're talking about.
You know, I have a patient, if I have a patient that is on one of those pills that helps you with this stomach indigestion issue. Very few people are taught that there's a backside to that. Almost nobody's taught that you need an exit strategy. You get prescribed this medicine and you're expected to just take it forever, and you tend to. But a lot of these medicines actually kill the cells in your stomach that make acid. And if you don't make enough acid, now you can't absorb calcium, so you become osteoporotic. You can't absorb magnesium, so you become osteoporotic, hypertensive, and in pain with muscle spasm. You can't absorb vitamin B12, so your energy systems don't work. And you can't digest protein, so you're malnourished.
Right.
And in the last couple of years, we learned that one of the other side effects is these drugs can cause heart attacks. And here you are doing that, and you'd rather do that than change your food?
I know. I'm definitely excited about this workshop. Can you uh, give us some overview of the workshop?
Yes. You know, we've spent a lot of time talking about food after lunch and not before lunch. We're going to spend about 45 minutes talking about the science of what food really does to you that's harmful, and why would you need to avoid this, and why would you need to avoid that, and what does it really do? Because once you really know, then you can stop paying attention to who thinks this is good and who thinks this is bad, and the jarbled gobbledygook that's out there. When you know that when you eat this, it increases methanol in your body that is toxic and dangerous, and there's nothing you can do to change that except not eat it anymore.
Right.
Maybe that science is important to you. So we're going to talk about that. It's important to talk to people about how their bodies are put together. How are you held together? Because if you don't understand how the fascia works in your system, then you really have a harder time understanding how to find the injuries, where to find the injuries, and what to do about
Absolutely.
them. And once you know, then amazingly enough, you might be more capable than your doctor, physical therapist, trainer, anybody. You might be more capable of finding the injuries yourself, because you will know where to touch your body, how to touch your body, and you know how to.
Oh boy. Computers playing trick on us. We lost out the black man again. So when you learn about these trigger point and myofascial kink and pain, then you can absolutely help yourself. At one point, I actually even learned how to use these hard rubber ball from Dr. Blackman, and using them when, you know, sometimes some point that you cannot reach because it's, you know, on your back, etc. Then we actually use these hard plastic, not plastic, but hard rubber ball up against the wall, and we do massaging ourselves. And those are the kind of interesting stuff that you can really learn from Dr. Blackman. And I'm hoping that I'm sure he will share some of those information at the workshop. He's trying to get back in so we can continue on our conversations. It's always been interesting every time I had a chance to talk to Sorry, I'm messaging him because we're trying to connect. So that February 6th workshop, he's actually doing 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. workshop. And he's going to go through different area of our body with where the myofascial trigger point will be and where the referred pain is going to be. So we will, okay, I'm going to, we'll try and, I'm going to try and get him on the just speakerphone because he's in Seattle and it's somehow internet keep cutting him out. So he's going to call me on the cell phone and then I'm going to put him on the speakerphone so we can at least get the audio and complete the conversation with him. I'm going to try and call him so I can get that. Sorry about that. It's technology's playing trick on us. So here we go. I'm actually calling him on the cell phone so we can finish that conversation for you.
Hello, Dennis.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope that people on Facebook can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Can you hear me?
It's my computer.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's not the computer. I think it's maybe the internet somehow it's not stable. I know you're not at home and you're in Seattle teaching, so I appreciate that you're trying to get on the call again. So let's I'll let you continue and finish it up. Okay, one of the attendee on the Facebook Live said he can hear you through the phone with my speaker, so I'll let you continue on that.
Oh, great. Okay. So we're going to spend time in the morning when we first start out talking about anatomy, how we're put together, where the injuries are, how to touch them, how to find them. And then throughout the day, we're going to talk specifically and teach in a workshop format where I would demonstrate a technique, and then everybody goes and practices and tries that technique. And we're going to go through headache, neck and shoulder pain, lower back pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, leg cramps, and foot pain. And teach people, how do you find it? How do you look for it? How do you find the places that are tender? And then what do you do about it? How do you treat that? What can you do with your own hands to unkink your fascia, perhaps help make it stronger, and showing everybody things that you can do at home on your own with just what you've got around the house There's lots you can do and lots you can learn to understand so that you can get yourself out of pain, because for heaven's sakes, what you're going to get out of medicine is medicine to help make you numb to the pain to the extent that it works. There isn't anything that we're really taught in school that truly helps people get out of pain. That's why we spend so much effort talking about coping mechanisms and teaching people how to cope. And I'd like to maintain that our conversation really shouldn't be about coping. Our conversation should be, how do we make this go away?
Right. And it should be healing and prevention. And that's, it's the goal. And when you mentioned about different area, I am actually looking forward to learning more about how to work with carpal tunnel and how to treat that, because that is one of the things, again, that we see many times, that people say, oh, we got to go do this surgery. And then, it may work, it may not work 100%.
And surgery has 50% good results and 50% not so good results.
Exactly.
So, and that's by review of the literature. And 30% bad results that are unfortunate with long-term consequences.
Right.
That's rough to sign up for.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
If we can learn to treat the fascia, and if we can improve that 50%, that's way better than going through the surgery. Because when you go to the surgery, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're cutting the fascia and everything through to, do whatever this carpal tunnel thing. I'm not 100% understanding of the carpal tunnel surgery, but from my point of view, as any surgery, you're going to be cutting the fascia and muscle. You're already injuring it more.
And anytime you put a needle in somebody and do some sort of a block, whatever you think you did, you also touched layers and layers of fascia. And really, in a lot of ways, you might not know what you did, and you still touched fascia, and you might have called it some different kind of block, but it was the pain from fascia that you really changed.
Yeah.
And you're not really even aware of that because you've never looked at pain through this lens before. And that's why this whole idea of looking at it a different way is so important.
For sure. It's going to be, if people have not looked at it this way, it's going to be a life-changing, and it's going to be very intriguing and interesting workshop to attend and learn from. So, well, I'm going to give you the last word, because I know you being teaching the whole day today at the best years at Seattle. So I'm sure you need to rest a little bit. So let's have your last word, and then we'll sign off.
Well, very good. And thank you very much, Dennis. You're a very wonderful host. And I really hope people get the message that you can get out of pain. You can make pain go away. Pain is not what we were taught when we went to medical school. There's an entirely different lens through which to look at it, to be able to see it, understand it, treat it even by yourself, and make it go away. Hope you all learn how to make your pain better. Blattman Health and Wellness Center, based in Cincinnati and Manhattan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blattman. I'm going to put the link for the website to sign up for the workshop also at the below the Facebook Live video. If anybody who are in pain, or if you know anybody who are having a pain issue, I would definitely encourage you to attend this workshop or share this information with your friends and family, because you never know, this may change their life majorly. Again, this is Dennis. I'm coming from Winnipeg, and I am going to sign off, and I hope that this information is helpful, and I hope that I will see many of you on February 6th at Dr. Blattman workshop, because I signed up for myself, and that's going to be my refresher, and it's going to be some of the things that I'm sure that I will be learning new, because the first time I learned it from Dr. Blackman was back in 2006, and I've been using this in my practice and working with it and having wonderful results. So thank you, Dr. Blackman. I'm going to get off the Facebook Live, and we will talk to you again next week.
Alrighty, you take care.